take a moment to talk dirty to you. Are you ready? Steady on, Nick.
Talk dirty to me. Talk dirty to me.
Desire, ambition, success, wealth, achievement. That's hardcore, right? Well, actually, before you write me off as being completely bonkers, I'd put it to you that there are a great number of people here in the UK who would see some or all of those words as dirty. Across the pond, we have the American dream, where people really do believe they can achieve anything. It's not embarrassing to read self-help books or admit to having dreams and ambitions. And if you do try but fail, that doesn't matter, because at least you tried. But here in the UK, I think we're just too quick to pull others down. Success often creates envy and hatred rather than inspires. I'm a big believer that we should aim to be the best we can be, whatever that means to us. And I'd like to see us become a nation which celebrates and encourages success and where we learn rather than laugh when things go wrong.
Michelle, I'd love to come across as a good person, but I'm afraid my cloven hoof pops out sometimes. And I want to tell a couple of things that occurred to me as you were talking dirty, but not really. Which is, I went to President Obama's town hall debate last Sunday, and there was a moment where someone said, "Sir, tell us what you're most proud of." And he actually answered, and I mean, in an English situation, he said, "Well, I'm pretty proud of the fact that I personally avoided the world slipping into another Great Depression." And I was thinking, that's quite big. That's quite big of you. Well done. Yeah. Well done, you. But, I mean, no British politician would ever self-aggrandise like that, because we live in a sort of...
Can't think of one.
we live in a culture, luckily, where we have a tabloid press, or a press where they build you up, they knock them down, and we have tall poppy syndrome. And if we see somebody slightly overreaching themselves, they are cut off at the knees. Now, I'm not saying that's brilliant. I agree that we should all try and be the best, and as we're on Sky, believe in better. But I think that we have a real radar for when we think somebody is undeservedly successful, and then we like to take them down. But I think,
the fact is that we get that treatment anyway. You don't have to be sort of overstepping your mark or being a bit too arrogant or believing your own publicity. There's a culture in this country, as Michelle says, of just people succeeding and then the envy being the catalyst for then dragging people back down. And I just feel that it's... When I was at school, there was a culture at school of if you did a little bit too well in an exam, you got hammered by the other school kids, your mates, or you thought you were mates. So it was almost like you didn't want to celebrate your achievements. And I think that's really damaging for us as a society, because we've got to be prepared to try things, to stand out, to create a culture of achievement.
I agree.
Rather than create a culture where you're a bit ashamed, a bit embarrassed that you might get the wrong reaction if you happen to do quite well at something.
I know, I still think it works as a society. We don't thrust our success down people's throats.
I rather like the fact that we're understated. I think that's rather... I rather like the fact that if David Cameron's asked what his greatest achievement, he'd probably say his children or something like that, or his marriage or whatever. I think that's tremendous. I think I quite like the British way, in that when we do things well, which perhaps not as often as we'd like, we can promote them, but otherwise we're quite an understated race. What's the problem with that?
You're not allowed to retweet praise, remember. You're only allowed to retweet abuse. That's the norm.
I think so. In America, for example, business, entrepreneurialism, it's something that is almost put onto children to aspire to, that you could, not to force them, but to make them realise that you can achieve anything that you want to do. And Emma, I'd be interested, because I know you've worked in the States as well, and for me personally, I've seen it in the work that I've done. I just think that there's this mindset difference where people are celebrated, supported, pushed, encouraged, and here I just don't think we have it.
I mean, I think there's a better sense of humour in this country. That's what I wouldn't ever get rid of. I think what we need to analyse, and it's very hard to analyse, is a lack of that attitude, which I also saw in America. I used to be a technology reporter. I was in Silicon Valley, interviewing the people running sort of Twitter and Facebook and Google and whatever else was coming out. And, failure there is a badge of honour. If you fail, you don't get hauled over some sort of tabloid press, like, look at this, look at that.
Knocking the tabloid press? It's not the tabloid press's fault.
All right. I'm just saying it's a mirror of society a lot of the time. You're talking about the fact that we do have that culture. It's part of our culture. I'm not knocking the tabloid press completely, but that is part of what it
shows
does.
you've tried.
But yes,
Yeah.
so I do think we could inject some of that. And I would be interested also, though, around this table to ask, I think one of the problems that is also there is ambition. So not just success. What you're actually talking about is personal ambitions.
Yeah.
And if you are an ambitious woman, that is said as a criticism. And if you're an ambitious man, it's said as praise.
Nonsense.
That is utter... Go on, Greg. Just...
No, that is
Oh, I
nonsense.
wonder
You've
why.
just contradicted yourself, though, because you're saying there's a cultural difference
I
between
think
us and the States.
I think it goes across, but I think it's worse for ambitious women.
Do you get your ideas from...
Well, it's an extension of the same problem.
Yeah,
It's an
my Christmas crackers
extension.
aren't that good.
It's an extension of the same problem. So you're drilling
Maybe.
down into a separate issue to promote a subject you're obviously very passionate about. But the essence of what Michelle's saying applies to everybody, I think,
crosses sex
within this country, and we
and-
pigeonhole
Oh,
people.
don't be so politically
You made a
correct.
great you made a great point, I think, about the about the fact that failure is seen as something that you can never recover from in here, and it's important for anybody to sort of try things and not be afraid to fail, and we don't have that. The response to failure in this country creates, I think, a very negative environment.
Don't let
for
her
then
off the
people
hook
to
about
take
men and
risks.
women.
No, but-
Get into her on that. That's much more fun. No, it's absolute
You take over. You
cobblers.
take the baton.
No. Tell me where women have been held back. Give me a specific
I wasn't
example.
saying that. I wasn't saying that.
Well, let them
what I
play
was
the
saying
tape.
is, when a woman... OK, Jenny, I'm going to ask some women just for a moment.
Yeah, okay,
if
sorry.
a woman is described as ambitious, Rachel, your hands on your hip, you're ready, both hands, do you think it's a compliment in this country?
Yes, it is. It's a
No, do you
compliment
actually think
anywhere.
it's perceived as a compliment?
You're not answering how she
Yeah,
wants
you know,
to.
Is it
she's
perceived-
like a
Keep going.
barrister now. She's going to keep going until... Just answer.
If it's
All
not,
right.
it definitely
You can disagree with me,
should
but I
be.
think on Twitter right now,
I think
at Emma
women-
Barnett, wherever you are, you
I
will
would
agree
be
with me on that.
devastated if I have a daughter of 22 who's not ambitious. All women should be
1-0.
ambitious. I think
Absolutely.
we should also
Fine.
celebrate. We should also talk about celebrating failure as much as success. We've got the Eddie the Eagle film out. We love heroic failure in this country. And I regard it as a badge of honour. Every time I've been fired, as somebody said, opportunities for disasters and fresh opportunities for disasters.
Well, that's
What
going to
was
make it easy
What
for
was
Sky News because they were trying to work out how to
How
do
to
it.
get rid of
you
me
just,
after
you
this
just
show.
give them the script. That's fine.
Yeah.
Come on, then, keep it
There
going.
are
So
no
we-
disasters, only
I'm
opportunities,
sorry.
and opportunities for fresh disasters.
You are a very successful, ambitious, blonde, ambitious woman, right? I'm saying the blonde ambition in your family. I always love that. Anyway,
Speak for
thing
yourself,
is,
Emma.
The thing is, mine's
Ask
died. Michelle,
Yeah.
do
I'm
you
gonna ruin it.
Do you reckon? No, I don't mind if you. I know that I've got a lot of women who agree with me. I did a talk on this last year,
Oh,
and
shame I missed that.
I talked about. I'll send it to you. I talked about when my husband and I speak about our careers to our friends, there is a completely different reaction when I say,
you got the wrong
I'm doing
friends.
this show,
You got-
I'm doing this radio. Oh, come on, you've got...
But
There
I'm
you
so
go.
jealous.
No one who's winning says, you've got the wrong friends.
I didn't know it was winning.
But what do they
I'll
say?
say this
Do
about-
they want to bring you down
No, they
because
just
you're
say,
a success?
God, Emma, you're doing a lot.
But I'm obviously a woman, and I feel I can have, do, and be anything. And
Why have
I
you
want-
raised this then?
But I want to start right at schools. I want better career provisions. I want kids to be taught you can have, do, and be anything that you want. You give them support, and you don't worry when they fail.